is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Our major stories tonight: a tragic accident occurred in Sibek Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision, claimed the lives of 3 family members, that is, a woman, her husband, and their 3-year-old child. The accident, which happened at exactly 4 a.m. today, has been attributed to the poor state of road and excessive speed. Away from that, Professor Charlene Bock has resurfaced a 1992 article questioning President Paul Biya's potential candidacy. The University Dawn argues that the president's desire to hold onto power stems from egocentric motives, despite the country's persistent problems that have remained unresolved for at least 4 decades. Those are top stories. The news in full in the jiffy. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. We'll begin with this tragic incident. Excessive speed and a poor road network as some of the major contributors to the high rate of road accidents in the region or in the country as a whole. A tragic example is the recent accident that occurred in Sibek Bonaberi. It is a neighborhood in the Douala 4 subdivision which claimed the lives of at least 3 family members, that is, a woman, her husband, and their 3-year-old child. Seri Chakutio gives us the details.
An accident in Sibek, a neighborhood in Bonaberi, Douala 4 subdivision, claimed the lives of 3 individuals, a woman, a child of 3 years old, and a man of the same family. According to eyewitnesses, the incident occurred at around 4 a.m.
Yesterday, around 4:05 to 5 like that, 4 o'clock to 5, the accident passed here.
The Supermong heavy-duty truck, while trying to overcome a taxi, collided with the motorcycle who carried passengers.
The
passengers died on the spot, with the head of the 3-year-old smashed by the truck, and the man who went under the truck was also divided into 2. To other onlookers, the incident could be blamed on the bad state of the road.
They want to try and see people that can try to see about the road. There's too much accident here, and there's too much embouteillage about the car.
This isn't the first time there have been accidents here. They must know how to drive in the city. It's true, the road isn't in such good condition. While investigations are ongoing, the bodies were deposited at the Bonasama District Hospital.
Now we talk something else. Nyaso village in Tombe subdivision, Kupe Maninguba division, a conflict-hit southwest region, is struggling without essential amenities, including an integrated health center that remains non-operational despite a 2023 decree establishing it. At a gathering of Nyaso sons and daughters, a unified call was made for local elites to intervene and bring the project back to life. Smajikan Gabriel has the details.
Potable water still remains a serious issue for the natives of Nyaso village in Tombel subdivision under Kupe Maninguba division of the southwest region. The natives cover long distances just to get the precious liquid. Though electricity cables could be seen crisscrossing Nyaso village, the supply is very unstable, making the people to sometimes spend days in the dark.
The problem of electricity is not an isolated problem of Nyaso. Yeah, for some of us that live in other places, it's not an isolated problem, but I think that the government is doing everything possible for that to be redressed.
We are having a lot of inconsistency of light because a lot of poles are old. Sometimes when wind comes, during the wind or rainy season, the poles go down, we stay for days without light.
Another key worry to the natives of Nyaso is in the health domain. Till date, the Integrated Health Center, which has already been given a green light to go operational, is not yet functional.
The Integrated Health Center that was created by ministerial decree in 2023, but it is yet to go operational. So the sons and daughters of Nyaso are looking forward to seeing this health center go operational.
With the coming of rains, the road linking Tombel to Nyaso has started deteriorating. As the sons and daughters of Nyaso converged to the village, they discussed possible solutions to their plight. It was an occasion for the divisional officer of Tombel to give this advice.
I have equally come to tell the youth that the consumption of drugs should be stopped because that is not taking them anywhere. Avoid that and concentrate on their farm work, concentrate on their studies. They should not minimize 500, 1,000 francs. Any little contribution will go a long way in developing the village.
The natives of Nyaso village are now hoping to have a better life in the days ahead.
We stay in the southwest region where the Limbe councils are facing a severe financial crisis, with the workers there being owed at least 10 months of salary arrears. After adopting their 2024 accounts, the Limbe 2 and 3 councils unveiled a grim financial situation. Davison Maimo reports from Limbe.
Limbe 3 subdivision, created in 2007 to disenclave and alleviate the living standard of the people. Councillor Kwan Oscar says the development of the municipality is in a slow pace due to the poor state of the roads.
Council has difficulty to even move within its territory. Right. It makes every other activity becomes difficult.
Despite hosting a potential UNESCO heritage site, the slave trade village, Mayor Seke Diboti Luma emphasizes that the roads are a major obstacle to development.
We need hard roads to improve infrastructure. We need hard roads to attract meaningful investments.
Out of a budgeted 650 million CFA francs for 2024, the council collected only 389,215,732 CFA francs. Not enough to settle the more than 30 months of unpaid salary arrears owed to workers.
It was a council that was hugely subvented from all angles.
Similarly, Limbe 2 subdivision faces significant challenges.
We have a very huge challenge as far as salary is concerned.
Mayor Chief Ndife Okangale Daniel says the situation is not different.
The problem we have is the law. The nomenclature of the state is strangling down the councils, because while the city council was in liberty giving us above 100 million annually, the law came to say that they should not give us up to now, should give us 10 million a year. That's 2.5 million per quarter.
The major crisis in Limbe 2 municipality is the inadequate supply of potable drinking water, despite effort from the council to mitigate the situation with boreholes.
Inadequate boreholes, so what we are pleading for the government to do is to send us simply potable water.
The administrative management and stores account was adopted to the tune of 452,636,509 CFA francs.
And on to other news, the growing trend of hiring muscle men for various operations, including debt collection and evictions, has led to violent confrontations and security concerns in Cameroon. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has condemned these practices, citing laws that prohibit private militias and govern public force usage. He has tasked regional governors to eradicate the growing phenomenon. Orlando Patrick Kenfak tells us more about this phenomenon.
The situation was becoming more and more alarming as public entities and private individuals were resorting to hire muscle men to carry out various operations, which much often escalate into violence confrontation with serious consequences in land dispute. Clashes erupt between these latter and opposing parties, sometimes even involving security forces. These illegal practices got to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, who in his statement on April 21, 2025, condemned the frequent use of these enforcers for debt collection, eviction, and demolition that violate the law of the Republic. The minister cited paragraph 3 of the Article 1 of September 10, 1997, concerning private security activities, which explicitly prohibit the training of private militia across the national territory. The minister went further, reminding the public of the legal framework governing the use of public force, ensuring that enforcement actions do not violate existing regulations, especially regarding debt collection. The law of July 25, 2023, which govern and guarantee debt recovery by public entity, stipulate that only court bailiff and authorized officials may request the assistance of law enforcement approved from administrative authorities. Since the enforcers are often employed by influential individuals, Paul Atanganji has tasked the 10 regional governors with taking decisive action to eradicate this growing phenomenon. The time for leniency is over, warned the Minister of Territorial Administration, emphasizing his firm commitment implementing the directive outlined in his April 21st correspondence.
And now to some other news that is our major lead story. Professor Limbe has republished a 1992 write-up in which he questions President Paul Biya's possible candidacy. To him, President Paul Biya wants to cling to power for egocentric reasons when the country is experiencing the same problems it has experienced for decades, which he thinks the president has failed to solve. Babila Jonathan tells us more.
University Don Professor Charlie Gabriel Mbok denounces what he calls irrational maneuvers to cling to power by President Paul Biya. He thinks the head of state has failed to solve the multiple socio-economic, political and security problems plaguing Cameroon and so should not stand for re-election. To him, a candidacy should balance the equation of what has to be done, what he or she can do, what can be done, and the commitments to do what has to be done. According to him, President Paul Biya has not been able to balance the equation for the past 4 decades.
The university professor is in his rights, democratic rights, to make a choice either to the left or to the right. You know, he can make his choice as to whether he supports President Paul Biya or not, and we clearly see that he doesn't support President Paul Biya, and he's given his reasons, and he's giving some great ideas and saying that, look, for 40 years the president has not solved the problem, so we don't see why he needs more time.
Followers of the head of state continue preaching the message of the power of experience, suggesting that President Paul Biya remains the right man for the top job. Progressive militants of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, are saying the errors of the past can be corrected via what is qualified as the third option.
We'll remove the government and lay it aside and keep Biya there. He might be old, he might be whatever, but he has the power and he has the capacity to win. But what is going to change Cameroon and bring us to that place of glory is the new government made up of technocrats and entrepreneurs chosen from all over the national territory who will come in and will help the president to solve the problems.
Meantime, President Paul Biya is yet to declare if he will stand for re-election or not.
Are you aware that having medical professionals such as nurses or let's say occupational health specialists on site in the workplace can impact the health and productivity of your employees? As part of activities marking the 2025 International Labour Day, the Lithra Regional Delegation of Public Health today organized an Open Door Day. This was to sensitize the public on the essence of health experts at work. Asa Lucilengo, a health reporter, tells us more.
Occupational health, a branch of public health, focuses on physical and mental well-being of employees in their work environment. However, in Cameroon, many companies do not fully utilize these.
Pourquoi les entreprises ne font pas appel à la médecine du travail?
Medics indicate that the lack of sensitization and awareness of its importance among companies has been a contributing factor.
Un service de santé au travail.
The absence of medical professionals in some workplaces negatively impacts both employers and employees, leading to increased health risks, decreased productivity, and higher healthcare costs, as well as legal liabilities.
Est-ce que ce travailleur à ce poste précis, est-ce qu'il a toutes ses aptitudes?
Also, medical practitioners see a work physician can help determine whether a worker is physically or psychologically fit for a particular task.
Si l'employé ou le salarié.
In Cameroon, both medical, legal, and work doctors are essential for integrating health and legal considerations in workplaces. In prelude to the International Labour Day, the Littoral Delegation of Public Health organized an open door day to sensitize the public on the importance of having doctors at work.
The rising phenomenon of street children in Cameroon's major cities remains a pressing concern. To address this challenge, the Ministry of Social Affairs and its partners, including the United Nations Development Programme known as UNDP, recently organized or convened a meeting in Yaoundé to explore solutions to this problem. Liengo once more reports.
The phenomenon of street children in Cameroon has become a pressing social issue despite measures implemented by the Ministry of Social Affairs.
Leur présence dans la rue est très souvent le résultat d'un dysfonctionnement familial.
According to Pauline Ren-Genet, the Minister of Social Affairs, these children are often vulnerable and find themselves on the streets due to the abandonment of their families and the society.
Et surtout de l'indifférence de la communauté qui les voit progressivement déserter l'école.
To curb the number of street children in Cameroon, particularly in Douala, Yaoundé and Gaoundéré, the pilot phase of the program to improve the socio-economic integration of street children was launched in the year 2023.
To the problems of street youth and children. This phenomenon is a constant abuse of the rights of these children, but more importantly, from an economic and social perspective, it is underutilization of potential talent and capital, human resource capital.
As a result, 1,942 children have been rescued, with 500 benefiting from socio-professional training. However, these measures have not been sufficient to address the issue.
It is important therefore that such initiatives like the PJ project continue and that we find ways to sustain them and make them permanent by integrating them into existing systems and initiatives. That, I think, is what this project aims to do and what we fervently hope will be achieved.
The fight against the phenomenon of street children was the objective of a meeting held in Yaoundé aimed at evaluating the progress. This meeting was in the presence of government officials and partners such as the United Nations Development Programme.
Entrepreneurs gathered in Douala, Cameroon for the 5th International Conference on Entrepreneurial Ecosystem. They discussed leveraging innovation and public-private partnerships to build a resilient entrepreneurial ecosystem, driving economic growth in Cameroon. The conference also aimed to empower ambitious youths in educational institutions, encouraging them to pursue entrepreneurship despite the millions of challenges faced by these entrepreneurs on a daily basis. Innocent Aze tells us more about the challenges they face.
Youth engagement in entrepreneurship has been highlighted as an economic bolster in Cameroon in particular and sub-Saharan Africa in general by the sector's experts. Though Cameroon is blessed with brilliant and skillful young people, majority evade from entrepreneurship because of several factors including high taxes, lack of equipment and infrastructures, insufficient or no government support, and constant power outage which disrupts and slows down entrepreneurial activities.
Avec le manque d'énergie,
she affirms the constant epileptic energy supply in Cameroon and in Africa is a blow to the growth and survival of enterprises amidst innovations. So because every activity requires electric energy to function effectively, as Cameroon thrives for a more and more resilient economy, the state counts on its educated youth to embrace entrepreneurship, which will also enhance their financial growth. It is due to this and the need to encourage the youth, particularly students in different educational institutions, to believe in entrepreneurship that the 5th edition of the International Conference on Entrepreneurial Ecosystem held in Douala, Cameroon. He tells of availability of immense entrepreneurial potentials, which is a key factor to enhance economic growth. The CIEE conference also aims at discussing on possible ways and solutions to the infrastructural, governance, professional entrepreneurial training and assistance challenges. While the representative of the state reassures availability and readiness to accompany the youth realize their entrepreneurial ideas and projects through professional training and the grant of subsidies, renowned Cameroonian entrepreneur Andre Siaka advises youth to take time and nurture their projects, seek advice from persons who have excelled in the same domain and those who have managerial experiences. Andre Siaka also encourages youth to work extremely hard, have self-discipline and to be patient in order to succeed, especially in a complex entrepreneurial ecosystem like Cameroon.
And now in religion, Catholics worldwide are anticipating the election of a new pope. Over 100 cardinals are gathering in Rome for the pre-conclave congregation and also the conclave to elect a successor when the time comes. Anabila Leke, our staff lady, has the details.
113 cardinals across the world are present in Rome as preparations for the funeral of Pope Francis intensify. The princes of the Roman Catholic Church held their 3rd General Congregation on Thursday morning with major announcements on the cardinals to deliver the 2 pre-conclave meditations. Among other decisions, the cardinals decided that Cardinal Manuel Fernandez will celebrate the Mass on the 6th day of the Novendial instead of Cardinal Kevin Farrell. Meanwhile, Cardinal Cantalamessa, preacher of the papal household, will deliver the 2nd meditation at the beginning of the conclave, whose starting date has not yet been decided. Among the 135 cardinals across the globe eligible to elect the next pope, 18 of them are from the African continent. Before the conclave, the eligible cardinals would, before anything else, take the oath of secrecy. They would swear to maintain rigorous secrecy and observe with the greatest fidelity and with all persons, clerical or lay, regarding anything that relates in any way the election of the Roman Pontiff. They must also keep secret everything that occurs in the Sistine Chapel. The cardinals will promise and swear not to break the secret in any way, either during or after the election of a new pope. The cardinal electors are to be cut off or refrain from all contact with the outside world. No telephones, no televisions, and no radio. Just them, their God, and their consciences. For now, the date of the conclave itself is yet to be announced by the College of Cardinals present in Rome.
And the news out of Cameroon, French President Emmanuel Macron is visiting Madagascar to explore new markets and boost economic cooperation for France. Meanwhile, in Kenya, President William Ruto has signed a strategic partnership with China aimed at accelerating the country's development. Our lady Malaglory tells us more.
Kenyan President William Ruto has signed a $1 billion agreement with China as part of a 5-day state visit aimed at deepening the strategic partnership between Nairobi and Beijing. The deal announced Wednesday focuses on accelerating key development projects under Kenya's economic transformation agenda, including major investment in manufacturing, agriculture and tourism. The newly signed agreements channel over $950 million into priority sectors, $320 million for manufacturing, $430 million for agriculture and $230 million for tourism. It is President Ruto's third visit to China since taking office, and according to the Kenyan government, this comes at a time of shifting global alliance and reflecting Kenya's commitment to strengthening ties with China amid global economic alignments. And elsewhere, French President Emmanuel Macron is on a two-day visit to the Indian Ocean island of Madagascar with objective of finding new markets and to boost economic cooperative. Macron's trip is the first state visit by the French leader to the former colony off the coast of Africa since President Jean-Jacques Chirac in 2005. Macron met with Madagascar President Andry Rajoelina in the capital, and they signed several agreements and memoranda of understanding, including energy, agriculture and education. Macron also announced funding the French Development Agency and a loan for the construction of a hydroelectric dam in Volop in eastern Madagascar, which has been planned for nearly a decade. President Macron will also be attending a summit this Thursday in the Indian Ocean Commission, a bloc comprising Madagascar, Mauritius, Comoros, Seychelles, and the French territory of Réunion.
And an international page puts a cap to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. See you tomorrow, same time, God willing. Thank you so much, and may God bless Cameroon.